This is undoubtedly the most terrifying experience that I've encountered in my life thus far. I was 8 or 9 at the time, and staying with my sister and my 2 cousins, one girl and one boy, at our grandparents' house. They live in the desert, in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, but we spent almost every weekend all together at their house. I had never had anything happen there until this experience. The 4 of us decided to sleep in the living room, as there was much more space to lay. There were 2 long couches and 2 love seats. My sister and one of the cousins each took a couch, and my other cousin and myself rolled out blankets and slept on the floor, in front of the freestanding wood stove. We snuggled up, and the glow of the dim lamp allowed us to drift into peaceful sleep. Suddenly, my eyes shot open in the lightly lit room, but I didn't know why. I didn't hesitate waking up, but I hadn't heard anything that would have startled me. It was completely silent. How long had I been asleep? It felt like a few hours at least, though my adrenaline wasn't helping indicate how much rest I'd received. My body and mind were on all systems go mode, and it was a surreal feeling. My cousin and I were laying on our sides, and I was facing her back. Seeing her long black hair reassured me that maybe everything was all right, because nobody else had woken up. But that's when I saw it, out of the corner of my eye. To my disbelief, something was in the room with us. In one of the love seats, right next to my cousin, there was a dark silhouette, a male figure sitting in the chair. And not just sitting normally in it, his legs were pulled up to his chest, and he was sitting in the chair sideways, his back leaning against an armrest. I slowly moved my gaze around the figure, not moving my head or body at all, only my eyes. I heard my heart pounding in my ears, and felt my stomach flipping violently. He was facing away and looking down, as if he was watching my cousin sleep. He was extremely lean, and had scraggly, shoulder-length hair. There were multiple solutions my mind thought up to try to rationalize why this man was there. They raced through my head, all at the same time. He's a home intruder. Wait, we're in the middle of nowhere, and no one lives around here. And wouldn't he be stealing stuff, or trying to kill us, if he broke into the house? Okay, he's not real. That's it. It's just a shadow, and my mind is playing tricks on me. No, it can't be. He's sitting in front of the lamp, and I can't see any light through him. No way a shadow blocks out all light, and I can see real features, like his hair and arms. The final thought is a little silly, but it crossed my mind that he might be Jesus. My parents never forced us to be religious, but we were taught certain aspects of Christianity, and were encouraged to say the Lord's Prayer. I felt a sense of calmness rush over me at the thought of this being Jesus. I only thought that because of his long hair. As quickly as the calmness filled my body, it was disturbingly torn away from me. Right when the thought that this may be Jesus crossed my mind, this thing got up. And it got up in such a strange manner. If any of you have played The Sims before, you know how weird the avatars move. Like to sit, the avatar will walk up to the chair, turn to one side, then turn again, and then sit. That's the only way I can describe how this thing moved, in that broken, sort of unnatural pattern. It stood up, still facing away, turned around so it was facing me, and then sat in the same position as before. Its legs brought up to its chest, and its arms wrapped around its knees. I was utterly terrified. My cousin was less than a foot away, though. I tried getting her attention. I whimpered her name quietly a few times, but it didn't work. I didn't have the slightest clue what to do. I contemplated running for my grandparents' room, but that would mean running past this thing. I was in complete fear for my life and soul. I didn't want it to catch me. I thought about screaming and trying to get my sister and cousin's attention, but I kid you not, the only thing I thought was they're already dead. That they were all dead, and I was the last one that would be killed by this thing. As I'm having an internal meltdown and fearing the eternal damnation of my soul, this thing begins to run its hands up and down its calves. But not just that, its nails were scratching at its skin, and I can still remember the exact sound. I'll never forget it. As it was scratching itself, it was still watching me. I couldn't make out exact facial features, but its head was facing me, and I could definitely feel it. I don't know how long this went on for. Time was so warped and messed up. As he continued to scratch, I heard the squeak of the rocking chair behind me, the noise you'd hear when someone stands up out of an old chair. I thought, you've got to be fucking kidding me. There's 2 of these? I tried to meditate and calm myself down. Maybe they're feeding off my fear. Then, I felt the thing lay down behind me, as if we were spooning. I never felt it touch me, but I felt the blankets behind me move. The biggest chill ran down my spine as I heard one elongated breath in my ear. Not only did I hear it, I felt my hair brush across my cheek. At this point, I was over it. All I could think to do was say the Lord's Prayer. I mentally recited the words, which I had always brushed off and joked about before. Then I was out. I don't remember anything except waking up to daylight the next morning. I jumped up, looked around the living room, and instantly became an emotional pile of goo. I woke my sister and cousins and told them everything. I was so thankful that they were okay. I have considered multiple theories of what could have happened that night. Though shadow people and sleep paralysis would be a possible theory, I don't believe that's what happened. I could still speak and move, and I haven't had reoccurring experiences. I honestly believe I came into contact with demons that night. Though I don't belong to an organized religion today, I do believe that there are good and evil entities out there. The last few years, I have stopped trying to block this experience from my memory. I've accepted it, and it's made me want to research and study more on demonology. In doing so, I've learned you have to willingly allow a demonic presence in your life. Whatever really happened that night, I am forever thankful to the love and light for protecting me and my family, and I'm proud of myself for being strong enough to not let them in. I'm a 25-year-old police officer. I've been one for 2 years now, and have just recently been moved to night shift. I can honestly say that I've only had 2 experiences that I would deem paranormal. Here's one of them. 12 a.m., February 12th, 2016. I get a noise complaint call at a house by the college. Of course, it's on a weekend, so it's more than likely a college party. My usual thing is to just tell them to keep it down. And when they don't do that, trust me, they won't. I will return with company and start booking underage kids for being stupid enough to stay after the first warning. I get to the house and all the lights are on, but it's quiet. No music. Nothing. I was already there and the call was placed, so I still have to check it out anyway. I knock on the door, and a few college-aged girls answer. They're dressed like they're about to head out to a party.
I got a noise complaint. Is everything okay here?
Yeah, we're the ones who called. I had completely forgotten that the house I was going to had placed the call and was not the source of the disturbance.
Okay, so what seems to be the issue here? Seems kinda quiet to me.
Well, we were gonna throw a party tonight. A small one. But the house next door has some freak in it. So we called it off and are going out instead. He was being insanely loud, right before you showed up. I pointed to the house to the left.
This one right here?
Yeah. I start walking down the sidewalk towards the house. And I hear it. A whining noise, kind of like when cats fight, but just a little deeper. It's coming from the back of the house. I walk over to the front step and knock on the door. As I knock, the door opens a little bit. It wasn't latched. I backed up and called for assistance, because I'm not going to even attempt to go in there alone. 1 a.m. My sergeant and good friend Frank shows up.
Hey, bud,
I said.
how do you want to handle this?
Noise is still jittering from inside. Leave? We both chuckled, but we knew we did not want to walk into this house. Something in my gut was clenching, and I was nervous. We walk up to the door, take a half step in, and shine our lights down the hallway. This place is fucking filthy inside. Nobody was living in there, but there were obviously squatters. Police department, if anyone is here, can you please come out and talk to us? Frank said. The jittering stops. A voice comes from a room down the hall. Mind you, this voice was not normal. It was deep and very gravelly, like a stereotypical demon voice. And you can bet your ass that is the first thing I thought of.
Nobody is home.
We've had a noise complaint here, sir. We need you to come out. And do it slowly.
I'll kill you all.
Frank looks at me and leans into his radio. We're going to need some assistance. Suspect is issuing verbal threat to officers. We drew our weapons and aimed them down the hall. Sir, please do not threaten officers. We will respond to that as a challenge. Come out now, with your hands visible.
You can't kill me, Officer Frank Dean.
Frank's face changed. He went from barely putting up with this guy's shit to pale in less than a second. He leans toward me and whispers, "How the fuck does this guy know my name?"
Please, I know everything.
The man walked out into the hall. Dark baggy jacket, jeans, Vans shoes. He had a big scar on his hand. It was red and puffy. It kind of looked like a pentagram to me. And he simply walked into another room. Frank starts to walk down the hall. Normally, he isn't that reckless. But due to confusion and anger, I think he just wanted to get this over with. This guy was probably just a nut. We approached the room he walked into. It was the bathroom. A tub, a sink. No man. Where the fuck did he go? There's no window in here. It sounds crazy, but this guy walked into the room and vanished. No windows, no doors. The ceiling was solid. We just stood there looking for a way to get out of that room until our backup arrived. We explained what happened, and well, just went on with the night. Never saw the guy again. You'll never guess what district I have to work tomorrow night. Maybe I'll bring it up to Frank at lunch and ask what he remembers about that encounter. He hasn't really said much about it since. I grew up in the city of Guayama, on the island of Puerto Rico. My house was in the middle of the woods, high up on a mountain, in a neighborhood named Carite. We moved to the city in the year 2002, when I was 11 years old. I visited my old house a few days ago. On the way there, we drove past the shoreline of the Carite Lake, and I remembered an incident that completely changed my life. It was at that exact spot that I saw my first dead human body. The incident traumatized me and made me terrified of deep water. What really made everything worse was a ghost story my grandfather told me when I was young. One of those stories that you laugh about during the day, but can't stop thinking about during the night. The story of Pedrito el Pescador. Pedrito el Pescador, or Little Peter the Fisherman, was a kid in his teens that used to be seen fishing around the lake. One day while Pedrito was fishing, he heard what lots of people in the area call the voice of the lake. They say that the lake sometimes calls you in, draws you deeper and deeper into its waters. Not literally with a voice you could hear, more like an impulse to do so. A lot of people have drowned in this lake. That's what happened to him. He floated in his boat to an area he had never been to, because he heard the call from the lake. And there, he saw something by the shore. Something so terrifying that Pedrito jumped off the boat and dove deep into the depths of the lake, trying to hide under those deep greenish waters. Pedrito was so scared by what he saw that he never came out of the water, thinking that whatever it was still out there, waiting for him to come up. Pedrito drowned. His fear was bigger than his desperation to take a fresh breath of air. And it is said that whenever you swim near that area of the lake, Pedrito will pull you underwater with him, trying to hide you from the thing he saw, trying to save you from it. It all sounds like a stupid, scary story, right? Like the kind of story you'd tell a little kid, just to see the look on their face, and have a nice laugh out of their innocent fear. Well, I wish I never heard it. I still get shivers, remembering the nightmares I had. The hair on the back of my neck still stands up when I try to imagine what Pedrito saw, debating what would happen if I saw it. Would I be so afraid that I would jump off my boat too? And if I did, would Pedrito pull me under? It was both a scary and fascinating story for 7-year-old me, until a year later, when it became all too real. It was 1999, and I was a happy but shy 3rd grader. I had a couple of friends, a girl I had a tiny crush on, and problems with my teachers. I got in trouble often, because I was always getting into fights. That's where I met my friend Hector. He was sitting at the principal's office one day. We both sat, waiting to be scolded, both of us biting our nails. And immediately we noticed that we both had that same nervous habit. He was the one to point it out, and we became good friends. One day, Hector invited me to go and swim at the lake. My mom always told me I wasn't allowed to go there, but I was not about to say no to my new cool friend, so I jumped on my bike and followed him. 2 of Hector's other friends were meeting us there. I don't remember the guy's name, but the girl's name was Rosemarie. As soon as we got there, we stripped down to our underwear and dove in. You could dive in right off the shore. You see, the lake was deep all around. There were hardly any shallow areas. It was as if the lake was a huge glass of water. "This is the best spot. If you dive deep enough, you can see the fish," Hector told me. "Cool. I suck at holding my breath, though, I admitted. Aw, that's no good. Hector can hold his breath for a long time, Rosemarie said as she swam around us. Really? I asked. I want to see. Okay then, let's have a contest. We all dive under, and whoever lasts the longest wins, Hector challenged with a smug grin. Okay, at the count of 3. 1, 2, splash. Everyone disappears underwater. In my head, I was calling Hector and the rest liars. There's no way you can see fish in this lake. All you can see is green, and the bottom is pitch black. After 25 seconds or so, I popped out of the water, desperate for air. I was a little frustrated because I was the first one up, so I was in last place. But after a moment, the guy whose name I still can't remember popped up, and then Rosemarie. We were all smiling and happy to be at the lake, waiting for Hector to come up so he can gloat to us about his incredible lung capabilities. Minutes passed, and we started to get worried. Rose was the first one to dive, trying to find signs of Hector, and then all 3 of us were. After 10 minutes, Rosemarie started to cry. I'm ashamed to say that I couldn't hold my sobs either, or the screams, or my bladder as I swam to the shore, hopped on my bike, and darted home. At first, my reaction was to run as far away from the lake as I could. When I got home, only wearing my underwear and still soaking wet, I told my mom everything that happened. About 5 hours later, the police and almost everyone in the neighborhood of Carite, including Hector's desperate and inconsolable mother, was at the scene, trying to find him. The police wanted us to stay, still asking questions about how he disappeared and around what area. I couldn't talk or say anything. It all seemed unreal, and I just wanted to run. It felt like I shouldn't be there. I hid and sobbed in my mom's arms through the whole thing. It was several hours later into the night when they finally found Hector's dead body. We all saw when the diver dropped him on the shore. Even though I didn't want to look, I still did. His skin was completely white. His eyes were wide open. But the strangest thing were the scratches. His throat and chest were covered with them, and they were deep. He laid there motionless, staring up into the stars. His scratches red and opened wide, but no blood would come out. The diver said that he found him at the bottom of the lake, his right foot entangled in some underwater plant. Hector's mother was told that scratches like this were normal, that they were signs of her son fighting for his life, that sometimes drowning victims will scratch at their own throat out of desperation. But me, I know better. I know that Hector, just like me, used to bite his nails, so there was no way he could gouge himself like that. I've also seen my uncle, a fisherman, removing the scales of his captured fish with his own bare hands, using the nails he grew and sharpened just for his job, the same way all fishermen around here do. The same way Pedrito would have kept his nails. Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. If you want me to... Get out of here.
Whee!
If you want me to tell your story or read a creepypasta, email me at the address in the description.
Email me at the address.
Get out of here, you fucking asshole. Like I was saying, email me at the address in the description.
Email me at the description. Oh, excuse me.
Ripley, this scumbag's getting on my nerves. He just farted in my face. Be good to animals. son of a... Awesome. I missed him and broke the damn window. All right, he asked for it, Ripley. Let's see you get out of this one. There we go. Oh shit, come on, Ripley, let's get out of here. Well, we burned the house down, but we got him. We had to have got him. Be good to animals, even people. See ya.
Já, snemma, bergsbus, hreish.
Whee! Stupid bitch.